Lawrence Watkins is the president and COO of the Black Business School, a platform that helps African Americans obtain a culturally relevant yet practical education in all things wealth building. The BBS has educated close to 100,000 students in areas such as entrepreneurship, stock market investing, and real estate investing. Lawrence Watkins is also the founder and CEO of Great Black Speakers, the largest African American owned speakers bureau in the nation. Lawrence's new initiative, the Black Power Institute, that we're talking about today, aims to organize the community development ideas of black people and mobilize resources around them. The BPI believes that there will only be one black agenda and and its primary goal is to lay out the different paths that black people can follow to make positive and powerful changes in their communities, no matter how big or small. Lawrence is a graduate of the Johnson School of Management at Cornell University, where he earned an MBA in entrepreneurship. He also earned a BS in electrical engineering from the University of Louisville. Lawrence is also a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, the Young Entrepreneur Council, and the Traffic Sales and Profit Mastermind Group. He currently resides in Medellin, Colombia, with his wife and 2-year-old daughter. Guys, let's welcome to the actual conversations my good friend Lawrence Watkins. What's going on, Lawrence?
What's going on, Lamar? How you doing today, man? Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Like this is great. Again, thanks for taking the time to join this conversation. Thanks for what you're doing because you just launched something that's brand new, I think, right? As far as I know, it's brand new, and I was excited about it and wanted to get you on here to talk about it. Can you tell the people about what the actual Black Power Institute is and why you're even doing it in the first place?
Yeah, so the purpose of the Black Power Institute is to organize the ideas of Black America and really the Black diaspora in general, and then mobilize resources around those ideas. So it's really that simple. Because when it comes to building power, there are two steps to the equation. There's the organization part, that is longer term, sustained type of action. But then there's also the mobilization when things happen, like what we're seeing in the world right now at the the exact same time, right? So we've come to the belief. My older brothers, Dr. Boyce Watkins, and Boyce is controversial in his own right, and no matter who you talk to, everyone has a different idea on what Black people should be doing. And our stance is the more important question is, are you taking action? Right. So are you taking action in your own lane? Because there might be more than one Black agenda. So some people might think it's going to be voting. Other people is going to think it's out here protesting. Other people might think it's going to be economic development. Other people might think something else. Right. So my goal with the Black Power Institute is to just take a step back, look at different social movements that have been successful, look at social movements that have failed over the course of history, and see what actions did they take to become successful, or what actions were taken that actually repelled what they were trying to do, and and organize all of these different ideas into a system, a coherent system that helps everyone move closer to the goal of a Black independent America.
This is interesting, right? And one of the things that really drew my attention when you first posted about it was a comment you made around it, right? Because you said, it's multiple ways and multiple lanes people to take, right? You said like it's not just some people believe protesting is it. Some people believe cooperative economics is it, right? Some people believe voting, right? Whether you vote or not vote is it. But you really drew my attention when you said like there'll be different ways we tackle this thing and kind of create this power structure around it. Now, let me ask you personally, what was it, or what was the switch? Because you said this is something you've been thinking about for a while. What was it that made you say, all right, tonight I'm getting this page up, I'm taking emails for it or whatever it is, and I'm going to push it out in front of everybody?
Yeah, I mean, it's what's going on in society right now. With deaths of unarmed Black men, all across the country. Getting hunted down by the police, and also just getting hunted down by fellow citizens of the United States. And I see what's going on, right now with the protest, and similar to what you and Coach P were talking about before. My lane may not be protesting, but I need to use my skills and my talents and my gifts to help the cause as best I can. So when I was just looking and reading the Washington Post, and just looking at my social media newsfeed and seeing the anger and seeing how people were actually, reacting to, what's going on in the world right now, I thought that, like, why am I still waiting on this? Because, and what I realized, it was because of fear, right? Because not necessarily fear of putting my ideas out there, fear that no one was actually going to listen, and I'll be just be wasting my time. That was like the bigger fear. But when I thought about it, it's like, okay, maybe people don't join me right now. Maybe this is something that takes years upon years, to build that type of momentum necessary to cause the type of change that I'm looking for. But at some point, I'm going to need to get it started. And just something in me said, why am I still delaying? Why don't I just put up this, quick landing page real quick to see who's interested, and start building that community in 2020 instead of waiting until 2023 or 2024 for this quote unquote perfect time that's probably never going to come about.
I love it. And right there, guys, what I have on the screen, that is the actual site that Lawrence is speaking to. It's blackpowerinstitute.com, blackpowerinstitute.com. You just jump on the site, put in your first name and your email address. I love it. Organizing black ideas to mobilize resources around them, right? So, Lawrence, let me ask you, because, you guys, it actually very similar to us, right? You work in a space where, like, what you do every day is around equipping and building up the black community. So I'm curious, when things like this happen, does that change the initiative? Does it shift it a bit? Does it uh, make you double down or implement new resources? From an organizational standpoint, with the businesses that you run, since they are all focused on the black community, when incidents like this and uprising and the civil unrest, how does that shift or change anything, or does it not? Because you're already doing the work.
Yeah, I mean, it shifted a little bit in terms of we may focus on specific initiatives and campaigns a little bit more than we were going to do before, right? So, we're still thinking through, given what's going on in the world, what we're going to be pushing forward for the rest of, 2020. Like, for example, before the civil unrest, was really, sparking, as you know, we had planned, our Black Stock Market Challenge, right? So, one thing that as an organization with the Black Business School that we want to do is to have the percentage of Black ownership of stocks to be higher proportionally than of any other counterparts that we have in the United States, right? So white people, Asians, anyone else, we want to have a higher proportion of Black people who own stocks, right? And that's something that was already planned and already scheduled, and it starts tomorrow. So if you're interested in that, go to the blackstockmarketchallenge.com. That's the blackstockmarketchallenge.com. But given what's going on in the world right now, we're thinking about what does a shift look like in terms of given the resources that we have as an educational institution that has been primarily built online. What things do we need to do currently to serve our customer base and to serve the Black community in general? So with the Black Business School, we're still thinking about how we're going to pivot a little bit to serve our customers a little bit better, but more broadly. I think it's the work that I did with with the Black Business School to really help with the Black Power Institute to think more broadly about power, not just economic power, which is my primary focus day in and day out for Black people, but think about power in general and how we can leverage our strength and power to create a better community for us all.
All right. Now, Lawrence, probably something that people might have caught when I introed you in. And real quick, before I even jump to that, again, my name is Lamar Tyler, creator and founder, Traffic Sales and Profit, co-founder of blackandmarriedwithkids.com with my wife Ronnie. We're streaming on all of our platforms, so you guys will probably watch me on one of those. When I read your bio, right, one of the things I mentioned in that last line of that is that you currently actually don't live in the United States. You and your family, right, your wife and your young daughter, she's 2, right, 2-year old.
Oh yeah, she's almost 2 years old, so she'll be 2 years old in a
Okay.
couple months.
All right, so almost one and some change, right? Your daughter, you guys actually live in Colombia. I'm curious, right? For someone outside of the country now, how do you like when you see all this happening on social, on the news? Um, like personally, as a man, like how does it make you feel being outside the country? Just that you wish you were there? Is it that you glad I'm glad I'm not there? Is it just like heightened concern for your loved ones because you can't actually be there and be close to them? And then also, like, what is the view of the United States when you talk to people in your communities, in your neighborhoods, or is it something they even talk about or pay attention to at all anyway?
Yeah, so given that the United States is the primary world power right now, people are always talking about the United States. So even on Colombian radio, you'll hear about what Trump has done, in the past day to make someone upset and piss somebody off, right? So America is really that important in view of the rest of the world to a certain extent. In terms of how I feel, I have mixed emotions. All of those feelings that you just laid out as examples are how I'm feeling, right? So a part of me, does wish that I was there, not necessarily at this particular moment in time, but what does it look like when we return back to the United States? Are there any initiatives that we're going to be a part of to start building these Black communities that we've been talking about, building for the last 20 years, 30 years, even longer than that, as a race of people, right? I'm also thinking about my family too, right? I don't think that being Black means that you have to be Black living in America, right? So we've lived in Medellin. Before we lived in Medellin, we traveled around Europe and South America for a year, and then we chose Medellin because it provided the best opportunities for me and my family to live a very good life at a reduced fraction of what it would cost to live in Chicago, which is where we lived before. So I feel that, and one thing that I want to do is start to explore other areas around the world where it might be great for Black people to start moving. There's a lot of news around Ghana right now. There's a lot of news around Rwanda. There's a lot of news around Kenya. There's some news around South Africa. Like there's other places that we can go to start building these thriving communities as well. So it's really just a mix. Part of me wants to be in the States. Part of me wants to, start expanding our opportunities to be like, Jewish individuals where, they do have their homeland, but they're, dispersed all around the world. We'll see, where it actually goes though.
That was insightful. Guys, you got any questions real quick for Lawrence? Do me a favor, drop them down to the chat. And I love what you just said, right? Being Black does not mean being Black and that you have to live in America, right? I love that. And this is my last question around that because I thought it was interesting why I got you on. Have you had a heightened number of people asking you about what it's like to live outside of the United States, right? Or is it pretty much nobody ever asks? Is it pretty much pretty even? Or like when things like this happen, do you get more calls from friends and family saying like, you know what, like what's it really take? Like how much does it cost? Like what do I need to do in order to make that transition?
Yeah, I do get calls all the time about that, especially, since everything has started popping off of coronavirus, and now within the United States, right? People always ask me, hey, I'm thinking about moving to Colombia. What do you have to say to me, or what do you think I should do? And I'm like, well, Colombian borders are now shut, so you can't come here anyway if you wanted to. so, so
Man.
this is a decision. Yeah, so it's not like a split second decision that you're actually going to make, especially right now during this world pandemic. But I actually taught a course in the Black Business School about that, called the Live Free Lifestyle. And it was for people who wanted to learn how to not just live free and move across, move abroad, right? But also how do you structure your life if you wanted to live in America, but still have a freedom of life, a freedom of lifestyle where you can't spend time during the day with your 2-year-old daughter, or you can't spend time with your wife in the middle of the day, or you can do X, Y, and Z. You can go for early morning walk or afternoon walk and don't have to really think about work, right? And that's the type of lifestyle that I've structured for myself. And I do have a lot of people always ask me about that, and I like to answer that question, but truthfully, it's and goes back to the Black Power Institute. It's a question that people ask me, but it's not something that I really enjoy talking about. What I enjoy talking about more is this concept of power and, living free, living independent, structure like I talked about is one form of power in terms of controlling your own life. But I like to think about that concept of power a little bit more broadly as well. So everything in my soul, kept telling me to move back towards the Black Power Institute because even though I don't know if people are actually interested in it, right? It's something that I think is just a body of knowledge that needs to be compiled and disseminated to our people so that maybe in 10 or 20 years, maybe now, maybe 10, 20, 30, 40 years, that piece of knowledge is compiled for someone else to use and run with it in the future as well.
All right, I love it. And then again, guys, what you see on your screen right now, that is the homepage The landing page, right, for the Black Power Institute, organizing black ideas to mobilize resources around them. The truth is that there will never only be one black agenda. The goal of the BPI will be to lay out the different paths that black people can follow to make positive and powerful changes in their communities, no matter how big or small, right? Make sure you join the pre-launch community, right? You go there, you drop in your first name and email address. It takes you to a video of information. I love that comment. I got to share that in a second. Takes you to a video, more information from Lawrence, and also a hand sketch diagram that he's carefully crafted out
That
to
shows
lay
you
out,
I
man.
did not plan on launching this, Lamar. I did not plan on launching this at all right now. I kept saying, all right, I had this all planned in my head, right? So I also teach a course called Black Experts Empire with my good friend Al Duncan. And the purpose of Black Experts Empire is to teach people how to transform their knowledge into power, purpose, and profits, right? So I had this big plan where we're going to do a Black Experts Empire launch, a book around that. Then I'm going to move to this general concept of Black wealth and laying out my Black wealth framework. And then after all that, I'll get to this concept of Black power and just little sketches that I've been working on, since, probably October, November of last year. Right. And, just something gave me last night said, nah, this Black power stuff needs to be moved to the forefront, even if it's not as profitable, in the short term, or, it doesn't have as much demand. Long-term sustainability of our communities. I think my contribution to that, to the Black community, nationwide and worldwide I guess, tied up into this, Black power system that I'm creating.
I love it. And a minute ago, Lawrence, as you were talking, you said, hey, I don't know if anybody's interested. We got a comment in that says, sir, we've been interested. I love it. They just been waiting for you to show up with it, man. Like people are just like the community is ready. Just been waiting for you to show up. So awesome. I love it. Lawrence, any last words you want to give to folks, or like say any more information on how they can connect with you or get more information about the Black? Definitely want to go to blackpowerinstitute.com. But any other information you want to share with them?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's it, right? So go to the blackpowerinstitute.com. So blackpowerinstitute.com, sign up. We're still deciding on, what we're going to do, right? So like I said, I literally was in the TSP group, the mastermind group at 1 minute. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and launch this. I created the landing page, the lead magnet, all that type of stuff, put it out there to the world and just seeing what's going to come out of it. So I have no plans in terms of what we're going to be doing with the community. I just said, let's just put this out here and see where it goes, because when it comes to just organizing the agendas of the Black community and organizing, what it is that we're actually doing, and giving people tangible action steps on what they can do, no matter how conservative or progressive they are, to influence and positively influence the Black community. I wanted to get that out there. And I think that as a group, we can come to a consensus. We can come to, I guess, better ideas around this concept versus me being here in Medellin, Colombia, in my back office, trying to do it all by myself. So please head over to head over to blackpowerinstitute.com. That's blackpowerinstitute.com to learn more.
Hey, Lawrence, I did have one other question came in. I thought was might be a good question for you. Victoria, I believe she's thinking about returning home to Kenya. She said, have you faced any kind of pushback from those who look at you suspiciously as a new resident of Colombia with roots from the USA? She asked because this is a real thing for those of us who are considering returning home to Kenya after years in the diaspora.
Um, you know, Given the fact that I work with Black people all day long with, great Black speakers and, the Black Business School, I've come to a level of mental freedom to where it doesn't actually matter to me what anyone really thinks. Right. The only people who matter to me in terms of what they think is, my internal community, the people who actually are paying our bills and who are actually serving. So um, it's so weird when people ask me that question about like discrimination, or do you feel like you're discriminated against in X, Y, and Z area, or do you feel like people look at you a certain way? Those are things that just honestly never crossed my mind because they have no bearing on my day-to-day life, right? They have no bearing on my family's life because as long as I have, enough cash, truthfully here, as long as I have enough cash and a, good enough support system with other Black expats and, other people within, the city of Columbia, none of that other stuff really matters. And I've realized over the last couple of years that that's a freedom that most people can't really enjoy from a mental perspective. And it's something I don't really take for granted. So I wish I could answer your question a little bit better, other than the fact that it's not something I ever really think about.
my bad. I know I keep saying I'm gonna let you go, but you just sparked something else with that comment you did, because I find myself thinking the same way, that I really don't care what other people think, right? And now, I was talking to Ronnie, my wife, last night. If everybody don't know that, I was talking to Ronnie, my wife, and I was just kind of sharing my thoughts about different things with her, and I was saying the fact that I know I am probably, well, not probably, I'm outside of the norm, right? Where I'm pretty much insulated by black people all the time, right? Where I don't, it's not like I go into an office any longer, because I don't. When I worked in corporate, it was that way, but I no longer go into an office where I'm the minority in the office, and I gotta, hide the way I feel, or hide what I think, or if I'm sharing or emotional about different things going on in the community, I gotta hear it, or people wearing their MAGA hats all around. That's like, you ain't gonna catch no MAGA hats at the Tyler New Media office. You know what I'm saying? It ain't happening. And then all day I'm working with black business owners. Then we over here working with black couples, right? So it's not the norm. But what I find is similar to you. I just can't muster up the energy to care what other people think about our community, other than people that's in the actual community. As I see, raging arguments and fights going on Facebook, I be about to comment, then I just be like, I just don't care. I just don't care. Like, I really just would rather spend my energy and my time like taking care of my folks, and making sure they're equipped and they got what they need. And I don't know, like I said, like I haven't heard too many other people, come from that kind of same lens. But I don't know if it's because of the fact that you are kind of insulated like I am, or what it is. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know if it's a question. I don't know. Is that like something we can help people? Is it something like, do you think people should care more about other things? Because I just don't care. Like, I don't care what other thought leaders that aren't black think. I don't care what other political like directly into stuff that impact me and my community. I don't care. And even if I got to interface with them, I interface, get what I need, then I'm back over here serving my people, right? So I don't know if you got any thoughts about that, or I'm just kind of rambling too. So
Yeah, I mean that's a form of independence and power, right? And truthfully, that's how white people feel in the United States. If you think about it to a large degree, especially if you are a white business owner who just interacts with your crew because you're used to being the majority. So in my day-to-day life, I'm used to being majority black. Everyone that I interact with, or is majority. I mean, most people I interact with are black, and I think that's a form of independence that we've become so accustomed to not having in the United States that many of us don't think is possible, right? So a lot of the fights that I get into on Facebook with people who are highly successful, my classmates who went to the best business schools or the best law schools, that type of thing, they have a different mindset because they've had to interact in corporate America, because their money, to feed their children, to feed their family, is dependent on what this white man thinks, right? Or what this white woman thinks, or I need to be watch out for Karen in the office or whatever. Because I don't want to mess up my cash flow because of that. And I think that's what black independence, or black financial independence brings. And then also just being around your crew, with other black folk. And I'm not saying that I don't interact with white people at all, because some of our a couple of our vendors are white, people that I have I know from school, that type of thing too. But we just have a different interaction. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's not one of I need you. It's one that you're, serving me in some sort of way of what I actually need. We try to hire as many black vendors as possible too, and that actually adds to the level of insulation as well, right? So, but that's a form of economic power. It's a form of social norms in culture, right? So being around all of that, these are just some of the base sources that I talk about, in my Black Power system as well. But it's a liberating feeling, and if you can achieve that type of feeling, I guarantee you it's going to add years to your life, because you're not going to be stressed day in and day out as you go to work. You're not going to be stressed when you walk the streets. You're not going to be stressed in a lot of different types of ways. So longer term vision out of this Black Power Institute, and what we're doing is, how do we manifest communities like that around the world, where we can be, where we can feel safe, where we're economically secure, where we're physically secure as well.
Thank you, Lawrence, man. Again, I appreciate you for taking the time, coming into us all the way from Columbia to talk about the Black Power Institute, guys. We dropped the link in a few of the chats we got going, blackpowerinstitute.com. Make sure you go right. All you got to do is drop in your first name, email address. You'll see a video from Lawrence. You'll get more information and his original diagram, right, and the outlook and view about how we can take black ideas and mobilize resources around them. Thanks a lot, Lawrence, man. Appreciate you being here today.
All right. Thanks, Lamar. Appreciate you.